Hey, good morning, everybody. If you don't know who I am, well, my name's Earl, and I like to walk the beach in the mornings and talk about recovery topics. So come join me for a walk. You know, after some time of being in recovery, we tend to get, I don't know, maybe the word is comfortable, maybe the word is stagnant. I don't know what the best word is to describe what happens to us after being in recovery for a while. But we get to this point where, we're doing okay, we're just kind of maintaining. And, though I have been there before, I feel like it's something that we all struggle with at some point in our recovery. Not that we're being lazy or not willing enough to do anything about our recovery, because we are. I still do service work. I'm still involved at the group level. I work with newcomers. But what happens is we get into a routine, if you will, okay? And it's not always the healthiest routine. And that's, I guess, what I want to talk about is the routine that we get into in recovery and how it becomes somewhat humdrum. It's Tuesday, okay, so I go to the step meeting tonight, and then tomorrow night, and it's like that. You've got this schedule down, and you're doing it on a regular basis, which is keeping you sober. But are you enjoying recovery? I don't know about you, but I think that's super important, to enjoy recovery. Now, how do I enjoy recovery? Make it exciting. Make it fun. Make it enjoyable. How else are you going to enjoy sobriety unless you make it enjoyable? There's many, many ways to make recovery enjoyable. Now, I'm not saying that, I know everything and all that kind of stuff. A lot of times when I come on here and I do these videos, it's to reveal something about me that needs some work. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm revealing to you something about me that I'm struggling with. Like, for example, the other night, I called somebody who's fresh back from a relapse. And he goes to a different group than I do. But I thought, you know what? Instead of me inviting him to my group or me going to his group, why don't I go pick him up and we'll go to a meeting that neither one of us have ever been to. So that's what we did, and it made it more exciting. It made it different. It made it fun. It made it like, oh, cool, okay, so let's do this. Anything to add just a little bit of something to it. So what's the big deal about recovery being so fun and exciting? Well, first of all, it makes it better. It makes it more fun. It makes it more enjoyable. It's something we look forward to, is being in recovery and doing recovery things, working with newcomers, things of that nature. With that being said, it is a program of attraction, not promotion. So just like these videos, I don't know, I think I sometimes skate that line of whether it's promotion or attraction. I don't know. I try to make my life look somewhat attractive. By being in recovery, my life becomes attractive to those who aren't in recovery. And that's what I like to reveal on my videos. Now, if I came on here and said, yeah, I've been sober for almost 18 years and my life is just so much better, nobody's going to want to hear that crap, They want to hear, whoa, man, life is awesome. I am living now. And it's true, I'm living now. What I was doing before was not living. That was just existing and making apologies for my behavior all the time and paying the consequences for my actions all the time. Now, I'm constantly looking inward. I'm looking at ways that I can improve myself, ways that I can help another person more. That makes all the difference in the world about how exciting my recovery is. So when I'm talking to a newcomer, I don't sound like I'm just bored out of my tree with this thing, you know? Like, yeah, I'm sober. Come on. I'm not just sober. I'm living, man. I am enjoying life. Life means something today. And it didn't before. You know, I've shared on here things about my personal life, and some of you maybe remember, my mother is not well at all. I'm going to be losing her soon. I know that. Do I want to be all down in the dumps over that? I mean, sometimes I am, and I can't help that. But she doesn't want to see that. And I want to spend time with her while I can. So I want to make her laugh, you know? I want to take her out and show her a good time. Not sit around and cry, you know? That's not what she wants to do. It's the same with people in early recovery. They don't want to sit around and mope and cry about the fact that they had to give up their best friend alcohol. No, they want to see what the payoff is for giving up alcohol. And here it is. Let me show you what it looks like to live a life not just free of alcohol, but free of that bondage of self. I am happy, joyous, and free today. And it's all because of the recovery that I didn't just show up for, I continue to show up for. Every single day, I show up for recovery. And you know what? The payoff is amazing. Truly amazing. I have a life today. I don't just stay sober. I live a life that I can be proud of. A life that I never thought was possible. And it's all due to recovery. Now, if that's not something to be excited about, I don't know what is. And when I talk to a newcomer like I'm talking to you right now, maybe they'll see the value in getting sober. Now, you know, I've talked about this many times, but there's such a big difference between just getting sober and living a life of recovery. And to me, that's true sobriety, living a life of recovery, where I'm out of myself. I'm not always concerned with, you know, my needs, my wants, my desires. But what about others? What about the people around me? What can I do to help them? You know what? That becomes a way of life. It becomes a way of life that I just adore. I truly adore this way of life. So if your recovery is exciting to you, more power to you. If you're bored with the recovery and you're just going through the motions and wondering what's this all for, I encourage you. Take a look at what your past was like. You know, I talked to a friend of mine over the weekend. He's been sober for several years now, and his problem is that he's gotten this major promotion at work and they want him to move to another city. Well, they're paying for his move, and now he's got a house here and he's going to have to buy a house there. And that's his problem? He's buying a second home? That doesn't sound like a problem. That sounds like a gift. Another gift of sobriety. Another gift of living a life of recovery. So if you're not seeing the exciting part of recovery right now, take a moment to look back on what your life was like before recovery. I think you'll change your attitude about what recovery is and change your attitude about maintaining recovery. It's not just maintaining sobriety. It's about getting out of ourselves and doing something for someone else so that we can live happy, joyous, and free. Hey, you guys have a great day. Thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.